I don't remember the exact moment when it started because nothing really happened. There was no big event, no argument, no breakdown. Everything felt normal, and that's probably why it took me so long to notice. At first, it was just a small feeling, something slightly uncomfortable inside me, like walking against a weak wind, not strong enough to stop, just strong enough to feel. From the outside, my life looked fine. Nothing was obviously wrong. I had a routine, predictable days, familiar conversations. I knew what my days would look like before they started. I knew what people would ask me, and I already knew my answers. Everything was stable, and I told myself that stability was a good thing. Sometimes, late at night, when everything slowed down, that feeling came back. It wasn't fear, it wasn't sadness, it was a quiet discomfort, a sense that I wasn't exactly where I was supposed to be, even though nothing was technically wrong. I told myself this was normal, that everyone feels this way sometimes, that this is just how adult life works. You adjust, you compromise, you don't overthink things. So I ignored it. Weeks passed, then months. The feeling didn't go away, it just became part of the background, like a low noise you stop noticing after a while. But every now and then, something brought it back. A random conversation, a moment on the street, seeing someone who looked more alive than I felt. I would think, something is off, and then I would do nothing. Not because I didn't care. I cared enough to notice. I just didn't know what to change. There was no clear problem, no obvious mistake, just a quiet sense that I was living slightly beside my own life, watching it instead of fully being in it. What surprised me was how good I became at explaining it away. I told myself I was being realistic, that wanting more clarity was naive, that comfort was something to protect. And for a while, those explanations worked. Then one evening, nothing special happened. I was alone, doing what I always did, scrolling, waiting, passing time, and suddenly a thought appeared very clearly. If nothing changes, this is it. Not as a threat, not dramatically, just a fact. This would be my rhythm, these would be my days, and one day I would look back and wonder when I agreed to all of it. That thought stayed with me. I didn't panic, I didn't feel motivated, I didn't suddenly know what to do. I just felt tired. Tired of adjusting, tired of explaining things to myself, tired of pretending that comfort was enough. For the first time, I didn't try to push the feeling away. I let it stay. And that's when I realized something uncomfortable. I wasn't stuck, I was staying. Not because I had to, but because leaving felt unclear. That night, I didn't make a big decision. I didn't change my life. I didn't tell anyone anything. I just admitted the truth to myself, quietly, that this version of my life was something I was choosing, every day by default. The next morning looked exactly the same. Same light through the window, same sounds, same habits. But something inside me had shifted. I started noticing how often I said yes automatically, how rarely I paused to ask myself if I actually meant it, how often I chose what was easier instead of what felt honest. Nothing dramatic, just small moments, but they added up. Over the next weeks, I stopped trying to silence that inner resistance. When it showed up, I didn't label it as negativity. I didn't try to fix it. I just noticed it. Sometimes it went away, sometimes it stayed. And slowly, I started to understand what it was pointing to. Not a plan, not a clear answer, just a direction. There were things in my life I was doing out of habit, not intention. Conversations I stayed in longer than I needed to. Situations that no longer felt like they belonged to me. Letting go of them didn't feel brave, it felt awkward. There was uncertainty. There was silence. There were moments when I wondered if I was making a mistake. But there was also space, not happiness, not clarity, just space. And for the first time in a long time, that felt honest. I didn't become a different person. I didn't suddenly understand myself better. I just stopped pretending that I couldn't hear the signal. Now, when that quiet feeling shows up, I don't rush to define it. I don't always act on it, but I listen. Because I've learned that ignoring it doesn't make life easier. It just makes it quieter in the wrong way. And sometimes the most important changes don't start with action. They start with noticing what you've been avoiding. Not to fix it, not to improve it, just to finally see it clearly.